cases that you handled on behalf of relatives, which are basically in the public domain. You agree they're in the public domain?
Yes, reported widely in the newspapers.
Thank you. So the allegations in those cases are that you are representing siblings against siblings, creating strife, bullying siblings out of property that maybe they ought to inherit. And basically our concerns from these complaints, or from the information we received, they tend to point to the fact that you are not a consensus builder, you're not a team player, and also that you have problems delegating. That is the perception, at least I am getting. You're representing relatives in cases against relatives, and it's all creating very bad blood within the family. I don't know what you would say about that.
Have you read my response?
Yes, I did.
Okay. My response answers every single one of those false allegations comprehensively, but restrains itself from going too far because it is a matter pending in court and is due for hearing on the 22nd of April this month. But since you have asked, and you have asked on public TV, I have to respond. As I told you, I told the Commission, I always take a position when it comes to people who bully and who deprive people of what is theirs. So, in the case in question, these are cousins of mine, and what makes it impossible for somebody other than myself to represent them is because they found it impossible to get an advocate in the town that they live because of the nature of their brothers. No one wanted to touch their case. So it fell upon me. And the case is very simple. The deceased had plenty of property. He died intestate. The brothers, most of the brothers, took it upon themselves to take all the old man's property, led by the eldest son, who is a member of parliament, who took the lion's share. And they disinherited 15 sisters or girls and 5 widows. That was a case where I felt that I had to go beyond the call of normal duty. When it comes to what you say, consensus building, if you were to peruse the file that is before the Eldoret High Court, I have suggested 10, or many times, not 10, that it should go to court-appointed mediation, even in my absence. It went to court-appointed mediation, and what happened? The men stood on one side, the ladies stood on one side, and they were berated, insulted, bullied, and threatened till they were in tears and told, take nothing because it is what your father what your father wished. They left the mediation, we went back to court. So it is absolutely false that I am a bully, that I take anything from anyone, but I can plead guilty to something very small. I fight for justice. If they are my cousins, they are my sisters, I will fight for them. If those widows are there and they are destitute, landless, living hand to mouth today, except for the 10,000 we fought that they be given, I'm very proud of doing that, and they appreciate it. In fact, the mistreatment of the widows was so great that one mother died of neglect. We had to go to court and ask for a stipend of 10,000 shillings per month to be given to her for her upkeep and buying her nappies and all sorts of things. So it's a case where, and so that you will understand that your view has, or the facts have been considered, they applied for my disqualification before the Honorable Judge in Eldoret, and considering all the circumstances, Her Ladyship, the judge in Eldoret, said there's no conflict of interest and there's nothing wrong that Mr. Murgor has done. So it's been considered. I wish to tell you this, Madam Commissioner. What would they like most? They would like to take everything from their sisters and mothers. If I become the Chief Justice, perhaps I won't be in that case, but somebody else may step into my shoes and fight as hard. So it's unfortunate, it's painful to have to talk about them in this manner, but since they are the ones who put out the complaint and circulated it widely on social media, I have to respond. So it's not something that I have any regrets about. So take it, not that I'm a bully, but take it that I take the side of victims. I'll fight for a woman, I'll fight for a widow, I'll fight for a girl anytime, for free.
Thank you. Maybe still on that same question arising from your answer, you've made a very passionate response to the question that I asked, and I can see it actually touches you deeply. Yeah. But I just want a reassurance from you, and also maybe to the people concerned, that if you become Chief Justice, they will have nothing to fear concerning interference with that case or influence?
That is a fair position to take. I certainly give my professional and very personal undertaking that I wouldn't interfere with it, nor do I stoop to the level of doing things like that. All that these people deserve is a fair hearing, both sides, those who say they inherited everything and those who say they inherited nothing. These young men, well, they are not young, they're old men, say that the law of Kenya does not apply to them. Only something that Mr. Koskei might know, Bwana Koskei might know of. It's called KU customary law, where ladies and widows are subhuman, but they should come to the 21st century.
Thank you. Enough said about that particular complaint.
Okay, thank you.
The other complaint, maybe I can combine them. The other complaint, two other complaints that we've received raise concerns that you are likely to abuse office and that you may not have the ability to deal with complaints or disciplinary issues concerning magistrates and judges should you become Chief Justice. Reason for the latter one is that you once refused to act as assisting counsel in a tribunal that was set up to investigate judges who were suspended, and one of the reasons you gave was that you did not believe, if that is those are my words, that it appeared that you did not have faith in a witness you were supposed to lead in that tribunal, and for the former, that you instituted a malicious case against Kamlesh Patni.
Can we deal with one at a time?
Okay.
I want to respond. This complaint that you've referred to is by Nelson Harvey. He has no understanding about what happened at the time. He has no facts. The first one that I resigned from.
You refused to participate in the tribunal hearing.
To investigate judges.
Yes.
He has no information, he has no understanding. All that Harvey was doing was trolling through whatever he could find to create a memorandum to come and embarrass me. If he was sincere and knew the facts, all he has to do is to go and find out what happened to the case of Justice Aganyanya, the late. He has living relatives in this judiciary. He can go and find that what happened makes me stand out as a person who will not condone injustice. What happened was, and have you read through the 2,000-page document? Because I want to refer you to a page.
Just give your response.
I have put in the radical surgery summary of cases against judges, and I have gone on to point out that that radical surgery that was conducted by Justice Ringera during the tenure of the late Justice Kisheru is a matter that will always be a dark chapter in the judiciary of this country. In that, what appeared to have happened is the judges were identified first, and then the evidence looked for. So, in many cases, some complaints were found. But in the case of the late Justice D.K. Aganyanya, I, as assisting counsel, asked for the file and said, where is the compilation of evidence, the kind of evidence that you will get in the JSC in the preliminary panel? And I was taken around in circles between Justice Ringera and Justice
Counsel, allow me to interject yet again. I see you want to go into the background of the matter and all. Like I had mentioned earlier, we have concerns raised by stakeholders, and I just want to hear your take on some of the concerns that have been raised. The concern here is, because you see, as Chief Justice, you'll be receiving complaints from people you've interacted with before and people you do not even know, concerning the people working under you. The reassurance that the concerned parties here want to get from you is that you will not have preconceived notions about certain complaints that are complainants regarding complaints that have been raised from you. Just that.
Thank you. So I finished my answer. When it came to trying to find the evidence against Justice D.K. Aganyanya, the late Justice Gisheru and the late Ringera took me round in circles till I established that there was no such evidence. When it came time to compiling the evidence, I was told who was supposed to be the complainant, who had not yet recorded a statement, yet a report had been made to the President, which resulted in the suspension of the late Justice D.K. Aganyanya. I have no apologies in saying that at that point, I washed my hands over the process. So when somebody says, I would therefore walk away from a process that is irregular, faulty, he should be giving me a commendation, not criticizing me. That's what I have to say.
Thank you. Maybe we can move on to the next one. Mm-hmm. The next one touches on the case against, the murder case against Kamlesh Patni. Mm-hmm. And the concern here is that you have a propensity to abusing power.
Again, this is another false complaint by Harvey, the suspended president, who had no right at all to forward such a complaint in the name of the LSK. But having said that, I have attached correspondence. There has been no complaint regarding the same case by the accused of the day, Mr. Kamlesh Patni. There has been no complaint again by his lawyers. But it bears pointing out that this is a matter that created great concern on the part of the judge who heard that case and purported to make those remarks about the conduct of the prosecution. You will find in the correspondence I sent you, it turned out that several things happened that were very unusual. The late Justice Gisheru sent the trial judge on leave. The late Justice Gisheru then, without any notification, assigned the case to Justice Jesse Lesit, who was not on the criminal murder trial murder trial bench. The personal advocate of Justice Gisheru, Fred Ngatia Senior Counsel, on the same day appeared as defense counsel. And then what happened was the judge galloped the case like the world was ending. First of all, we expected her to simply notify us that the case would not proceed. She said it was going to proceed, and it then proceeded. And it got to a point where we had to have a talk in chambers, where in front of the defense, I said, Madam, if you have made up your mind, keep it to yourself, but wait until it is time to rule on the matter. When the matter she then forced the prosecution to close its case without calling a vital witness who was abroad and who Interpol was about to bring. And in 7 days, delivered a ruling of no case to answer, the contentious ruling. I, at the time, was still the DPP. I went to the registrar of the criminal division, whose name was Julio Seco, and requested to peruse the file. when the file would not come out of the chambers of the judge. When it finally came, it came with an instruction that the DPP could not photocopy the handwritten proceedings, but could only peruse them. When the proceedings or the draft, the handwritten judgment was perused, it materially differed from the typed ruling. This matter was reported to the Chief Justice. No action was taken. This matter was reported to the judges, and vetting board, and there was a very interesting outcome, as a result of which there was a further complaint. So my answer to that question is that that judgment is impugned. It gave rise to complaints. I don't accept the accusations therein, and it was brought before this commission in bad faith.
Okay, thank you. We've noted your comments on that. Mm-hmm. There are some other complaints that we have received. Some of them touch on cases that are live, so I'll refrain from asking you about those. Mm-hmm. Some, I believe, have been served upon you. So whatever response you're going to give to the commission will be considered.
I would like, actually what my detractors in quotes have done, have circulated these widely on social media. I would love the opportunity to give a short answer to every complaint.
All the complaints that you have
all the complaints, I see them on social media. I see them circulated by Harvey, and then the next day you send them to me.
There are some that we have seen your response, and we didn't feel the need to raise with you. There are some that have been served on you. You are yet to give us a response.
I have responded to everything served on me, unless you served me today. I was served with one more yesterday. I also responded within 15 minutes.
Great. Then the response will be considered. Thank you.
So, do I have the chance to clear my name?
Chair, I don't know if we still have time for that.
I will be very short.
I think let us give him a chance to clear himself.
So just summarize them and I will respond. Oh, okay. The one I received yesterday from the commission was by one Dennis Kangethe Itui. He makes a complaint that is very difficult to understand, as he complains against nearly 10 people, 10 advocates and lawyers. But the long and the short is that he writes to this commission on the 12th of April against seeking to complain against the Honorable Justice William Ouko and Philip Murgor. I would like to say that if at all I handled this Kenyan as a person complaining as the DPP, I have no recollection whatsoever, because I processed many such people, many of them in a week. I have another complaint here sent to me from a lady known as Catherine Isige against Philip Murgor. It is all lies, and she fronts for the wife of Ambassador Dennis Awori, Kenya's former ambassador to Japan, who is currently the chairman of Toyota Kenya. And I wish to point out that the lies in her complaint, that I'm a bully in her neighborhood and I bulldozed her property or her nursery school, is all lies. She and her partners attempted to set up a nursery school in a neighborhood in which I live. The neighborhood complained. The county council came and stopped them. They persisted. Their employees were arrested, and at some point there was some damage to their gate. They went to court in Milimani Law Courts, miscellaneous number 63 of 2011, before the Honorable Justice Githua. They sued Nairobi City Council. The neighbors joined as interested parties. I represented the neighborhood, and it was found that all the documents they had used to suggest that they had change of user and were entitled to develop that property were forgeries. So all she's doing is thinking this is the time to throw stones, and she's doing it. There is another case, yes, there's another case of, this one I was surprised the commission could send me. It looks like it's from a blogger, somebody called Charles Ogega, and he says, very short email to the commission, whatever, the complaint is not specific, no, he said, he says, how on earth, he's addressing it to JSC and Vetting Committee, how on earth does Murgor gain pass to vie for this post? Isn't he the one shrewd layer who tirelessly fought for Chomley in a case where the accused shot and killed a poor Kenyan guard in an attempt to hide his illegal game meat slaughtering? Please guard our justice system from evil characters who can't spare anyone in their spin of greed. Concerned Kenyan. And I was sent this to reply. How do I reply to this? But anyway, I did. And I have pointed out that the documents regarding the case of Chomley are to be found in my bundle at page 2089 and 2099. The long and the short of that issue is that it is the Honorable Attorney General at the time who ordered the termination of that case, and for good reason. And even if it was found that it was for bad reason, the Attorney General and the subsequent DPP had every right to reinstate it. They did not.
I'm getting a bit concerned. You said you're going to be very brief.
I'm finished. My last one. The case, and then there's the questionable memoranda sent by Nelson and Harvey to the Commission. I am, with great respect to the Commission, disappointed that that was forwarded to me, despite the fact that it was totally disowned by the Council of the Law Society.
Senior Counsel, I just need to bring it to your attention that as a Commission, it is our obligation to receive whatever reports that are brought to us by whichever people, from whichever walk of life, or in whatever capacity. And we have that obligation to share that complaint with you. We cannot just trash and assume any complaints.
I'm actually not trashing it. I am recording my view, and I'm saying that I responded comprehensively on that complaint, and I asked the court to look at my considered complaint, including the reasons why Nelson and Harvey has malice for me. That's all.
We shall do that. Thank you. Thank you. Chair? Thank you.
Just one or two things I would like to mention. Actually, what Commissioner already meant is that we sent all the complaints to the candidates to be fair to them, and also to be fair to those people who sent. So it's not just you, Senior Counsel.
I thank you.
I have two clarifications for you to make. You kept saying